Well, thank you, Aloha Steve, for explaining how to change the title on Prism Live. Because I was concerned on how to do that. And I was driving around with the same title for the last 4 or 5 days. It's awesome. Very, very good, man. That's very, very helpful. Extremely helpful. This is the best time to go out the valley because there's not going to be that much traffic because of the holiday.
Head north on South Vermont Avenue to 1st Street. Continue on South Vermont Avenue for half a mile.
What you're doing is trying to divide the country, and I've lived through 50 years of this crap. All these fake race wars that they're always promoting. Oh, go hate each other while we loot the treasury. That's exactly what's going on, and most people are totally sick of that. So yes, there is a possibility for a huge coalition of decent people once they free their minds from the traps set for them by others and realize, wait a second, we all want to make this country better. And
So we covered the AmFest that TPUSA, Charlie Kirk's organization, had their AmFest. It was more like a wrestling show because Erica Kirk put it together instead of Charlie. But Tucker gave a speech there. We've already covered parts of it where he called out Ben Shapiro, but there was some much better parts to that speech. It was a great speech. And here he is trying to bring people together. Sounded a little like Jimmy Dore, trying to bring people together. Let's watch.
most people agree with that. Most Americans have more in common with each other than they disagree on. And almost everybody...
Who says that? Who do you know who says that?
agrees on that. And almost everybody is willing to tolerate a good faith argument about how to get there. Except a few. And they're the ones running around calling everyone an anti-Semite. But everyone else is like, yeah, of course, that should be the debate. And they'll vote for you. They want that because they know they haven't had that. That's the fact. And what you're watching now, attacking millions of Americans because they're Muslims, it's disgusting. And I'm a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I know there's a lot of efforts to claim I'm a secret jihadi. I'm not. You should not attack people on those grounds. And you're seeing it from Republicans. What the hell are you doing? What you're doing is trying to divide the country. And I've lived through 50 years of this crap. All these fake race wars that they're always promoting. Oh, go hate each other while we loot the treasury. That's exactly what's going on. And most people are totally sick of that. So, yes, there is a possibility for a huge coalition of decent people once they free their minds from the traps set for them by others and realize, wait a second, we all want to make this country better. And the 15% or 30% who don't, okay. You know, good luck in Maryland or wherever you wind up. But the rest of us would like to fix it.
Now, I've been saying for a while that when the banks crashed our economy after deregulating themselves, they crashed our economy in 2008, and the bankers didn't miss their bonus checks, but Barack Obama did kick 5.1 million families out of their homes. Now, you go to do it. So that's when the Occupy Wall Street started and the Tea Party started. And they were both organizing around hatred for Wall Street and the billionaire class who were screwing everybody. So what did the establishment do? They figured out we got to divide these people. We can't let them come together. And that's when identity politics really took off. And you want to identify by your skin color instead of the content of your character, which is the opposite of what Martin Luther King said. You want to identify by your sexuality. You want to identify with your sex, ethnicity, every other thing except as an American with shared interests with each other. And so that's when they started to plant stories about white nationalists, and everything was racist and everything was sexist. And you got to worry about the Nazi next door. You remember all this, right? Well, I'm not making this up. This has been studied academically. And they've showed that the increase in the corporate media of all those terms of pushing racism and dividing the country exploded after Occupy Wall Street. And so that's them finding a way to divide us and conquer us so we don't come together around shared interests. And thank God for Tucker bringing this message to the turning point. People now, if you notice, they're not cheering because this is not the room for that speech. Here is Blakely. I love Blakely. She says, I want to reserve a special holiday FU to every liberal and Democrat for letting Tucker Carlson be the one to call out Islamophobia. Good for you, Blakely. Good for you. Here is Jay Jones was the moderate, says you hate Democrats more than Republicans. Everybody knows this. So that's exactly what they do. They did the same thing to me. When I was calling out the Democrats, people go, oh, you hate that, you love Republicans, you're a Republican, you're a Trumper, that's the game they play. And she says this is probably why the party is ignoring you, being the Democrats. She goes, checks out. His handle is @liberalboomer. Okay, so super checks out. Here's what something. Why does Tucker parrot Justin Trudeau from 2016? This is now conservatism. Diversity is our strength. Tucker, blackface Trudeau, Carlson. So that's how. So when Tucker says something unbelievably reasonable, left the Democratic Party, and that Bernie Sanders tucked his tail and extracted no concessions from the Democratic Party for his endorsement. Ever since then, I knew the fix was in, and that the Democrats were worthless. Worse, they're working against you. So watching the right stand up to Israel, refuse to be bullied by Zionists and the big accounts, go against their own politicians, even calling them out publicly, has been a humiliating watch for me this past year, honestly. I would have bet it would be the liberals. I feel like a clown. Hey, I couldn't stand Tucker for most of my life. Now he's one of the most honest people in the game. God is real and changes people for the better. It certainly seems like what's happened. Tucker's been on a real journey since he endorsed the Iraq war, and he's constantly apologized for that, and it seems like he's constantly trying to make up for that. And I think he's doing a good job making up for it.
You know, I think also when I watch Tucker, he talks about, like, I might have said something in the past and I may have believed it, but as the facts reveal themselves, I'm open to changing my opinion based on the facts. And one of the things I remember when you were on a show, Jimmy, and you talked about Julian Assange, and you were able to change his mind about Julian Assange.
He credited me with changing his mind. I'll take it. So here's another tweet under this video. It says, "You're not wrong. I was flabbergasted when I saw this clip. So much so that I had to retweet it and actually thank the ghoulish MFer for calling it out. Tucker's a hate monger. I can't stand him. I've hated him since the Crossfire days in the aughts. But when he's correct, he's correct. Well, he's also had a journey where he's changed as a person since the, you mean the last 25 years? Has he changed? Yes. Yes. That's why he got fired from Fox News. Because he's evolved. And he's telling the truth about the neocons, the war machine, Israel, and he even told the truth about COVID. And that's why they got rid of him. So everybody's allowed to evolve.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 5097760.
authorities can be corrupted and co-opted. This is just people figuring it out on them for themselves and transcending labels because of what they now know. The one thing the powerful can't control because there are no leaders. They keep killing the leaders. Tucker lights the... So this guy is anti-Tucker. He goes, Tucker lights the match, then steps back and lectures everyone about the smoke. He built a career on insinuations. Now he's suddenly the referee of decency. Well, do you disagree with what he said? No? Well, you don't disagree with what he said or is saying. You disagree with something he did in the past. So you should dismiss what he's saying now, even if it's correct. So if he says 2 + 2 = 4, you go, yeah, well, he used to say it equaled 5. Yeah, but now he's saying the correct thing.
Well, it finally stopped raining, which is good.
This is the trick. You flirt with the ugliest narratives, then play Christian victim when it boomerangs. What is boomeranged? No accountability, just vibes and righteousness. And don't divide the country from the guy who monetized division like a subscription model. Spirit. So is he saying something wrong now? Or was he saying things wrong then? That's what you have to look into. So which Tucker is real, the arsonist or the fire marshal on TV tonight? I would say they were both real, and this is his evolved position. Well, underneath, it's because Tucker is a Muslim apologist. You see, so one sign that a person is incapable of personally evolving is that they don't believe anybody else can personally evolve. Because that's called projection. They're projecting onto Tucker. I've never personally evolved, so how can he? Here's another guy. Alexander Duncan says Tucker is flat out wrong here. He has a distorted, weak view of Christianity. Loving people is not loving them in the sense that you accept and tolerate their sin or evil ideology. Loving them means speaking the truth of God to them so that they may be saved. Islam is an evil, demonic ideology, and God makes it clear that we are to hate what he hates, and he hates evil. So God hates Muslims. That's what this guy's saying. Wow. And thank God Marshall Duncan is in town to take care of evil once and for all. And just like any good Christian, hell's coming with me. And you better hate what he hates, or he's going to hate you. Which means you'll have to hate you. Which means you're probably a comedian. I like what Dan Risboy says. Tucker's right here. Let me read it to you. Tucker's right here. And it needed to be said loud because attacking millions of Americans over religion is low IQ, weak spine garbage that turns real political fights into stupid tribal food fights. And when Republicans start playing that game, they're lighting themselves on fire for clicks, not defending the country. This isn't strength. It's lazy division dressed up as toughness. You don't protect America by sparing your own citizens like they're foreign enemies. You protect it by enforcing laws, demanding loyalty to the Constitution, and holding individuals accountable for actions, not faith. Tucker calling it out as a Christian is the key point. Faith isn't a weapon, and patriotism isn't a purity test run by morons on social media. This country wins when it unites around shared rules and values, not when it fractures into religious hit lists. And anyone pushing that crap isn't owning the libs or saving America. They're doing the exact work our enemies want done for them, dividing the country from the inside Waikiki, February 20th. Then Lansing, Michigan, February 21st. In Milwaukee, go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.
I'm 4 minutes away, buddy.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan Kelly. Welcome to the Megan Kelly Show and this special holiday episode. We thought for a change we would just do some viewer mail and some questions and some fun tips. We get tons and tons of viewer mail, and I always feel bad that we can't get to them all, but I do read them. My gal Meg Storm puts them all together for me, and there's so many that begin, I know you don't read this, but I do read it. I don't get to read every single one, but I read a lot of them. So I feel like I have a very good sense of where the audience is on any issue, and that's vital. It's vital to me. So anyway, let's just dig into it and see if there's anything in here that interests you. I will tell you overall, I selected some hard news questions, some lifestyle questions, some makeup questions, some child rearing questions. So we have covered the full gamut here. Excuse me, still getting over this ridiculous cough. The cough's gone, like the cold is gone, but the voice, is the real voice ever going to come back? It's not 100%. You know, my mom's voice is deep. It's deeper than mine. I wonder if this is how it happened for her. One day it just shifted down lower, to a lower gear. Hopefully not, because I'm not a very good singer, but I can carry a tune a little with my normal voice. Now I can't do anything. And the holidays are here, so I'm belting it out on my radio, usually when I'm driving my kids around. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe to this show on YouTube and follow me on Insta, Facebook, and X. You know how much my family and I love our dogs. Yes, even sweet Strudwick. I cannot imagine life without them. They have a great life, but some dogs are not this lucky. And that's why I'm so glad to tell you about Delta Rescue, the largest no-kill, care-for-life animal sanctuary in the world. They have rescued thousands of dogs, plus cats and horses, too. They provide all the animals with shelter, safety, and most of all, love. And they've been doing it for more than 45 years now.
Okay.
Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions to stay open, and giving can bring tax benefits to you, too. Speak with your estate planner about how you can grow your estate while helping animals in need. And check out the estate planning tab on their website to learn more. We love our Thunder and Strudwick, but would like other dogs who need love to find it, too. Visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. That's
Hi, this is Richard Clark.
Oh, man. He must be busy. Alright, I'm not sure if it's here. I think it might be down further. Let's see right here. Customer parking. Yes. This is a huge dealership.
Turn right.
Freaking huge dealership out here. There's apartments right here. So I am in the valley. Chase.
At the stop sign, turn right onto Chase Street. At the next stop sign, turn right. At the stop sign, turn
Maybe. So there's one space there.
Right, turn right onto Roscoe Boulevard.
Yeah.
Then your destination will be on the right.
Restaurant parking. I wonder if Richard's here. See his car. Is that a handicapped spot? Oh, man.
Your destination is
You
on
gotta
the
be
right.
kidding me. Oh, man. So I was afraid of this parking. It's going to be a challenge here. Where do you park? We have to go up the street more or something. No. It's not Richard. It's not. She wants to go, I guess. Holy smokes. You have to park down the street or something? Yeah. No, that. I'm gonna try to go straight and see if there's anything. Or is there anything down there? Parking, is it? There's something right there. Looks like there's looks like there's a spot right in between those two cars on the street. Yeah, maybe. It's pretty tight. Fit in here. Yeah, fit in here. Yeah, this'll work. This'll work for sure. Until my brother comes here. Damn, there's so much traffic on the street. What is this, Roscoe?
DeltaRescue.org. Okay, let's go. Here's an interesting question on immigration from Chris. He writes, or she writes, I thought we were done with that Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Last I heard, he was getting ready to be deported within a day or two to somewhere in Africa. I think the question on a lot of people's mind is, why is this administration having so many problems getting rid of the seemingly simple cases? How did this guy's deportation get so screwed up that we have to keep listening and going over it 6 months later? Chris, same. I have the same thoughts. He's like a bad penny. It keeps popping back up. Like, no matter what you do, you're still on the Kilmar Abrego Garcia story. Why does everybody know this man's name? Enough already with this guy. And I have to be honest, it's because, in part, due to incompetence. And I'll explain how. So, first of all, that's the guy who had a withholding of removal order. Meaning he went through the immigration courts when they arrested him and accused him of being an MS-13 gang member. And he managed at that time to pitch his sob story to some bleeding heart on the immigration bench, who gave him, instead of a deportation notice, gave him kind of a get-out-of-jail-free notice, which is called a withholding of removal, meaning you can deport him if you really want to, but you can't deport him to El Salvador, because he's convinced me that there are terrible gangs there that mean to do him harm. And I think that was all bullshit, to be honest. I don't believe any of that. I think he just didn't want to go back to El Salvador. And even that notice is no longer good when the threat is removed. So if the gang that was after you has been disbanded 10 years later, you can be sent back to El Salvador. And by the way, that's exactly what happened. That's what happened. But anyway, so that's the first problem. Some bleeding heart on the immigration bench fell for his little act and gave him that order. Then, when we were deporting people under this first year of the Trump administration, he got rounded up appropriately. And the one place we couldn't send him to, we sent him to El Salvador, because we struck that deal with Bukele to take these people and put them in this prison. And it wasn't that he wasn't deportable. He was deportable, but just not to there. And then the administration made the mistake of admitting they had made that mistake, which, you know, it's not great to say in court, whoops, we made a mistake. Would have been better to come up with an argument. That's kind of what lawyers do. But they thought of that too late. They were already on record as admitting it was a mistake, turned into a big national controversy, and then they came up with criminal charges to slap him with while they tried to save face in bringing him back to the United States and out of that El Salvadoran prison and all that after the visit and all the publicity around it. And as soon as he got back here, they slapped him with criminal charges relating to his alleged trafficking, which it seems pretty clear he did. So that was sort of their, okay, he's coming back, but it's still not a win for the other side because now he's facing criminal charges. And this one judge who's an Obama appointee, who is also a far leftist, is Judge Zinnes, she's 100% against the administration on this. And while I'm not on her side, I can't be too harsh on this judge because we've been botching it over on the administration side. I mean, it hasn't been good. And then finally, they go into court for the most recent hearing. Now they're trying to just deport him the old-fashioned way, like get out and go to this, I don't know, it's like Uganda, someplace. You're right, it's some African country, can't remember which. And as his lawyers are challenging that, they're challenging it all. And to his lawyers' credit, they said, let us see the order of removal that preceded, like the order of deportation that preceded the the withholding of removal. Because before you say, but you can't deport him to El Salvador, you need the order that says you can deport him. And it turns out they don't have it. That lame immigration judge who handled this thing in the first go-round never issued one. So it turns out he's got an order saying you can't deport him to El Salvador, but he doesn't have an order saying you can deport him. So it's beyond effed up, which means, and I've contacted many administration officials saying, aren't you just going to now get a deportation order from any immigration judge? And they all seem to be telegraphing, yes, that's their next move. But Judge Zinnes has said, you're not locking him back up. You're not going to lock him back up. So that's fine. You can do it while he's at large. But they're going to know where he is, and he is going to get dragged before an immigration judge, and he is going to get deported. He's not an American citizen. He has no right to stay here. He's never been given permission to stay here. So he is going away.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm just finishing up. I just got done with getting my cavity filled. I'm leaving right now. I just got to pay for it.
Oh, okay. I'm parked out here on Roscoe, right next to the restaurant.
Okay, yeah, I'll be up there in a little bit. Wait there. I'll be up in a little bit.
Okay, I'll wait for you.
15 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll wait 15. See you then. Bye.
Soon we will be done with the bad penny, and he will be somebody else's problem. But it's kind of a case study in government incompetence and how crappily our immigration system has been working. You know, it really is. The guy's allegedly beating his wife repeatedly. She's seeking multiple protection orders against him. He's allegedly trafficking people into the United States, all these other illegals from state to state, cross country with no luggage. Oh, I'm sure it was legit. Not to mention his MS-13 gang affiliation, which has been proven to my satisfaction and to the satisfaction of the 2 immigration courts who looked at this initially, just not to the satisfaction of the left, which wants to hang on to every last illegal. They're hoping that they'll become voters and put Kamala Harris in office. So it's very frustrating. Gets almost too frustrating to continue covering, but we will. And I thank you for listening and for your smart question. Okay, moving on. Next topic, radical Islam. And this one is from Joe, who speaks, I think, for a lot of the viewers because many of you wrote in about this. He writes, is the West/Christianity going to be able to contain, stop the spread, or possibly reverse the spread of Islam, or are we simply doomed? I actually think we are capable of stopping this spread, Joe. We are not Germany. We are not France. We are not London. We are a much, much bigger country. 330 million Americans is much, much harder to dilute. And while we did have open borders for 4 years under Joe Biden, mostly they came from the southern border. Yes, we did get our fair amount of Muslims, but most came from the southern border. And we've got a problem now with, gang-affiliated members, and also just loafers who are not contributing members of society. And then you got people like from Somalia who just want to mooch off of us while we pay for their lifestyle, while they take their government paychecks, or not paychecks, but checks, and ship part of them off to Al-Shabaab, the terrorist group. It's not great. But there haven't been that many Muslims who came. I mean, if all the Hispanics who came from south of the border were Muslim, I'd be more worried. And the Muslims, let's be honest, they're breeding like rabbits. That's like part of their mission, is to have kids, have tons of kids, have 6, 7, 8 kids, and win by multiplication. So Christians need to start having babies. Sorry, but we do. If I'd met Doug when I was younger, we would have had 3 more. But I was kind of an old lady when we got together, and I did what I could in my limited time of childbearing years. So I had Thatcher I had Yates at 38, Yardley at 40, and Thatcher at 42. And thank God they were all healthy. But as you know, God shuts you down around that point. So we got to have more babies. Like, the left has basically stopped having children because of climate change. Okay, how's that working out? They need to have babies too. Although, let's face it, the responsibility is mostly on the right. So if you are a conservative Christian, please have children, more than you can afford. Honestly, find a way. They can go to public school if you live in the right community and get a good education without being too indoctrinated, ideally south of the Mason-Dixon. And honestly, college right now, like Elon's always saying, it's not even necessary. You can learn everything you need to know on the internet. Hillsdale College has got so many great podcasts and courses that are for free online. You can educate yourself. I know this sounds like a little flip, but I believe it's true. And more people are providing education for people in a trade where they'll pay for you to get educated in, like, as a plumber or an electrician, and you don't have to pay for that out of pocket, and you can go on to have a great life in a really, like, a well-paying job. Anyway, I just think we need to have more children. And we need to elect people like Trump. We need to keep JD in there after Trump is gone, where we stop the immigration from countries who do not share our values. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm sorry, but no more Muslims. We're done. Our values are not aligned. They're just not. I have Muslim friends. It's nothing against them. Their individual, friendships are fine. They as individuals are fine. But Islam is not consistent with the values of America, of the West. They should stay in countries that don't care about keeping church and state separated. They should stay in countries that don't care about protecting free speech. They should stay in countries that don't care about women's rights. That's where Islam can fester and grow. It's great. I mean, I'm sure if that's like your thing and you don't care about like genital mutilation, you might really enjoy living in an Islamic country. If you don't mind living in a life as a woman where you have to keep every inch of your body except for your eyeballs covered, yeah, someplace in the Middle East could be for you. It's not my thing. It's not America's thing. And it's not a thing that we should want or encourage in the West. And it's definitely not a thing we should encourage at our governmental level. I mean, one of the tenets of Islam is to take over. They want to get rid of the infidels, the Christians. They do not want to live peacefully side by side with us. They want to convert us. They want either to get rid of us or subvert our religion and our beliefs to theirs. So it's a no on more immigrants from Muslim countries. And on the 5-time call to prayer being played over loudspeakers in places like Minneapolis, that has to stop at Dearborn and Minneapolis. We've already lost 2 major American cities, and we should be done with that. So you need to get involved at your town council, You need to pay attention when ordinances are going through. You need to not be afraid to say, we're not electing an Islamic mayor because that's not consistent with our majority beliefs. And if they call you a bigot, so be it. Remember what Christopher Hitchens said. You know, they're going to make up this term Islamophobia to shut us down. And that's by design. There's no such thing as Islamophobia. You are not only entitled to, quote, fear Islam, I would argue it's your duty as a Christian to stand up and fight against it. It is not consistent with the values of the West or America, and therefore you have no problem. You should have no problem standing up against it while being kind to your Muslim American neighbors. Okay, you can be kind to them and say, I disagree with the tenets of your, quote, religion, and do not believe that people who follow Islam should be in power here in America. So that's that. Forging forward. Kamala Harris, Jeff writes in. Kamala Harris is coming to my area on her book tour. Oh, Jeff, I plan to go to this event. If I get to speak to her, what are the best questions to ask her? I actually have a strong thought on this, Jeff. Okay, I'm glad you wrote this because we just had news this week. She's expanding the book tour. She had such a fun time being loved by people. She wants more of it. So I do have advice for you. You should not go and be like a shit stirrer. Well, you should, but you should do it in a clever way. So you should try to get online, and what you should say is something along the lines of, you know, Madam Vice President, there are so-called establishment Democrats who say the party will not accept, or the country will not accept, a black female president, that it's not ready for it, and that the party, if it doesn't want to lose again, is going to have to go with somebody who's doesn't check as many identity boxes. To those people, what do you say? Or you could say, there are some in the party that believe you've had your chance, you didn't get the ball across the finish line, that we need to let somebody else try because you've already in effect been rejected by the American populace. Are they right? Say that. Say something that will encourage her to defend her ability to do it. That's what I want to hear. Like, let's get to her actual thinking.
All right, Smart Billy should be coming in pretty soon. I'm going to sign off for now, guys.
And she can do it because
Have a
you
good day.
know in her
See ya.
head she thinks she can. But the left's not really going to ask her that. So you need